Welcome back everybody, and we are now on what I think is called Spire Island. And this one, as I said in a previous video, is the linchpin key to the biggest macro puzzle in the game. So we are going to walk up here and see the whole reason why it's called the Spire Island. At least I think that's what the official name is, and it's for these rocky spires jutting out of this shallow lake, as it were. It's almost like a hot springs, because if you look down below in the center here, it's almost like a heated geyser-ish area, except there's a pathway over it. But yeah, our main goal actually is up there. Let's get a better view. There we go. Yep, up there. That's where we need to be. And these little limestone-like structures are going to help us in deciphering the clues how to solve the biggest macro puzzle in the game, the Golden Dome puzzle. I mean, I don't have an official name for it, but that's just what I like to refer to it as. Now, before we go out to the catwalk, let's turn around and take a look what's back here in the little crater lake. There's a little interesting buoy structure, but we can't access it right now because there's no pathway to it. But we see another spinning dome, and what's this? Oh no! The device is on its side, so we're not going to be able to find out what the symbol is of this particular island is unless we go to the actual dome itself and figure it out. Okay, so you got to look carefully for a gold icon as it spins around. It looks like it's a circle with a horizontal line through it. So write that down and associate it with Spire Island. So now that we know what the symbol of this island is, as per the dome, it's now time to stop it and turn it inside out. There's not so much an image you can go off of here, so just go off based off the sound. As right as the sound's about to repeat, hit the switch, and that should activate the dome to turn inside out. And just another interesting note, you see all those little wark effigies that look like whales with tusks, so more imagery there. So we see a layout here of 5 islands. It looks like they're arranged in about the rough, distance from each other to how they are in actuality. But I don't know what this all does, at least you shouldn't right off the bat, so let's pick the smallest one and start there. The one island I'd imagine we haven't been to yet. So now that some whatever water bubble has formed there on top of that small island in the upper right, we'll find that we can now access the actual buoy structure. And when you go in, you see one of them cool little magnetic spiky thingies. So if you select the orange square, you get to take a look at what it looks like in relief, the actual terrain of this island. And it looks like there's a small dome there too, in the upper left corner. About 2 across, and 2 across from the upper left. So why are we looking for domes? Well, so far it seems like that's the one single common denominator between all the islands. I mean, they're all completely different. Spire, crater, temple, jungle, and then whatever that unknown small one is. So there's got to be something that links them all together, and it seems like there's a dome on every island that supposedly leads to Gen. So just based off a hunch, that should be the one and only object you should try and find on each of the islands, and then note their locations. So it looks like we're going to choose Spire Island next, the L-shaped one. So we go back here, and if our assumptions are correct, we should have an option of selecting 4 different angles. This one's a little hard to figure out, so we're going to turn it around. Oh, there's the dome, just as we expected in the upper portion of the crater lake area. Now, trying to figure out where it is in relation to the other grid lines. It looks like it's 2 down and not even 1 across. So upper left corner, 2 down. So jot down that location. This is all going to be very important. So we are going to select Temple Island next, the one in the upper right. Now this clue system here up on the top portion of Spire Island, it is one of the most vaguest things in the entire game. I had absolutely no idea what I should be possibly looking for when I checked out all these island, reliefs. You'd have to think along the lines of, again, this is almost like a reminder system for him. So in case he ever forgets, the code to his own power system in the Golden Dome, he can come back here in the privacy of his own island right here and figure it out all over again what he needs to do. So, okay, we've never really been to the one on Temple Island yet, or haven't even seen it, but this is where it's located on the island. It looks like it's in the upper left corner. Not even across or down, just upper left corner of that quadrant. So do take note of that. So now we're going to do Crater Island next, the island we were at before this one. So yeah, getting back to my story, I truly did not have any clue what I was supposed to be looking for. I actually had to go online and figure out that I was like, oh, I'm supposed to be looking at the locations of all the spinning domes, because that's a key linking feature that that connects all the islands. And so, yeah, that was pretty ridiculous and vague. Because otherwise, I mean, what else are you going to look for on these islands? I mean, it makes sense. It does. You got to find something that would stand out in all 5 islands. And the Marble Dome is the only one that does. Now, I'm checking the rest of these because, if you recall, the spinning dome for Crater Island was actually not out in the open. So, as you look at all these areas, and then you go to the top left quadrant, look at that, there's a hole. If you remember, and you actually looked up when you were at the dome on Crater Island, you could see that it was open to the air. So it would be safe to assume that the Golden Dome is in that little hole in the crater, or in the ground. So that's 4 down, 1 across. So in the upper left quadrant of Crater Island. So make sure you write that down too. And last, but certainly not least, is the very, very large and very, very confusing Jungle Island. If you're not entirely sure where the jungle is in relation to the Crater Lake, you're going to have a hard time finding this particular spinning dome, because it is actually one of the hardest ones to make out without turning the overall needle thingy around a couple times, trying to decipher the dome shape. And I also like the fact that he uses the heat sources on those upper platforms to shape the water into the actual rough, I guess, shapes of the islands themselves. Kind of cool idea, that. So it's right here in the lower left portion of the Jungle Island. See, you can see it now when you start turning. Yeah, this is the hardest one to figure out on first glance. So let's see here. It is 4 across, 1 down in this quadrant. 4 across, 1 down. Okay. So we have navigated and found all 5 spinning domes. So we are basically done with this part of the island, and we are free to go down. So hopefully you took notes on all that, because I'm not going to come back here again. There's really no point. And I just left the Jungle Island one on just for kicks and giggles, so you can see the cool little bubble shapes up there. The most unique thing about Spire Island is that there's really no puzzles to ultimately solve on this island. It is mainly just a clue bird island that provides you hints for use elsewhere. So you're basically, if all goes well, you only need to make really 1 trip to this island, and that's all you really need. You don't need to come back here again. Now, this is tricky. You turn the maglev machine around, but then the stairs extend outward again, so you can actually get back out and go to the other side, to the door that you couldn't get to earlier. Now here's a little glitch that I found. If you hit the forward button right now, the thing starts off immediately without closing the door. So I don't think the developers took that into account, because I think the door would have been ripped off as soon as it exited the cave. So they didn't even put in the door closing sound effect. It just went. If you don't believe me, try it for yourself. Just press the forward button after you turn it around. Now, supposedly this entire room you're in right now is sweltering hot, and that'll become quite apparent once you go down beneath the surface of the water. Now, although this looks incredibly cool, there really is no practical use for this odd-looking elevator. So, well, I guess practical use for the aesthetics that are being used. I mean, it looks pretty. So we descend down into the water, and then in short order, we're actually out of the water, which gives you kind of an idea of how hot it is down here. For some reason, it is boiling hot that the water is just so high up that it's not going to go any lower. So, yeah. Your character must be sweating right now like a stuck pig. And then, strangely, once you get to this little corridor, it's all nice and cool and stuff, yeah. Oh my goodness, who's that? They're running away! It's like one of those white-robed followers of Gen. Oh boy. We better go chase him, if the game lets us. Oh gosh. Look at that. He is totally freaked out. He's running away. Oh, I just knew we were that awesome. We scare everybody away. But yep, if Gen didn't know you were here, he does now. There's not much to do except go back and figure out what was beyond the door frame that the follower came from. And we get to this awesome little underwater area. Almost like a water tank of sorts. You get to sit on this cool little throne. Now, once you hit the right switch, this little device comes down, which is another huge round of clues. You'll look on the little panel switches there. They're symbols that you should recognize, or at least a couple of them. And when you flick it, a light turns on, and that light is a specific color. Like this one would be, I would imagine, blue? We'll decide when we hit this one. Yes! The last one was blue. This symbol is green. And so you go on through each symbol, figuring out the different colors, and you match them up with the symbols, and this one is yellow. So if you remember, the symbols are associated with the islands. So now you have something like this, where it's orange, and it's a symbol associated with the Spire Island, the one you're on now. So, uh-oh. This symbol is red, but what's going on? Whoa! So this is the fabled Wark. This is all the effigies and statues you've been seeing all across the islands. It's supposed to symbolize this animal here. Cool. Anyway, back to the clues. So now you got quite a few hints here. You got the island that a symbol is associated with. You got the color that the symbol is associated with. And here's a cruel thing. One of the poles is broken, which means you don't know the color of this symbol. And that symbol actually symbolizes crater. Ah, crap. So, yeah. And not only do you have the color, you have the position and quadrant located of the Golden Dome. for each island. So you have to keep all of these clues into account and have each one associated to a specific island. So now we pull down this other little device here, and there's actually two panels. The one on the left shows you some sort of video of an unknown room. Don't know what that's trying to show. So we're going to turn that off. We're going to check the right button. I have no idea what I'm looking at, but apparently I can turn the view. So you just keep turning it. Just keep turning. Oh, hey, look, we're looking at the village. Cool. Oh, this must be the telescope in the middle of the lake. Whoa, what is that? That looks like a triangle fish, and look where the eye would be. That is the fifth and missing eye that you haven't found yet on Jungle Island. Don't bother trying to go after it because you can't. But this is your clue bird into the last rotating eye. You'll never hear the sound of what the fish makes, but you know its shape and you know the number that is associated with that animal. So let's take a look back into this room. Still nothing. Let's try again. You are not helping me, game. I'm trying to show something to the viewer. Work with me. Come on, one more try. Ah, here we go. That looks like a woman. Why would he have a video here pointed at her room? To keep tabs on her? This must be Catherine. Ah, so he's been keeping tabs on her through his video feed. So basically we're done with this throne, actually, but we're going to have a little extra fun with the warp. Just because we can. So let's bring down the right one again. Let's go back to the red light. I think it was this symbol right here. And let's press it. So the work comes at the red light, and apparently it's not exactly happy with you. I'm assuming it's expecting food whenever that red light turns on. So if we keep teasing it with the potential for food, what is it going to do? Well, the awesome thing is the developers actually let you find that out. Just keep pressing it and pissing it off. It tries to check 3 times, tries to give you the benefit of the doubt, to give it some food, but the 4th time, it's had enough. It's going to check one more time, and it's going to be like, what gives, man? Oh gosh! Good thing that glass didn't crack. But if you try and call it again with the red light, it will not appear. It's done. It's not going to come back to you again. You've completely destroyed any operant conditioning that whale had, that work. Alright, so we have quite a lot of information gathered here from Spire Island. So we have the fact that each island has a unique symbol attached to it, and that symbol has a unique color attached to it. And those symbols are on the rotating domes, and now we have the locations and quadrants of each of the rotating domes of all 5 islands. Now we're missing a color, and most likely there's 6 symbols but only 5 islands, so there's going to be some guesswork involved in the ultimate solution of the Golden Dome puzzle. But now we have to go to the remaining islands and figure out the symbols of the islands we didn't get to, and head our way to the Golden Dome as soon as we can, and see if we can turn the power on to the linking books so we can finally access Gen. But also remember, you want to, take the trap book. We got to find the trap book first before we even attempt to, meet Gen. Otherwise, I don't think we're going to be of any use to him. So, with that, we are done with Spire Island. I do not foresee that we will be coming here in the near future. So let us turn this ship around and enjoy the ride. So yeah, I know all these clues were very, very confusing. So if you have any questions, feel free to pop in the comments, and I'd be happy to answer them to you in more detail. But I should hope by now you should kind of see a pattern of how all these clues are starting to fit together. So now we should be back on Jungle Island, and it's time to see what we can do here now that we are coming into the island from a different angle. So I think we'll do actually quite a lot of good stuff in the next video. So until then, see you later.